This video is sponsored by Squarespace. In this video, I'm going to share some reasons why I believe you need a gravel bike in your life. And especially if you only have space or money for one bike, better to make it one of these, in my opinion. And yes, I know it's easy to dismiss these bikes as nothing more than a marketing fad. And there's a lot of hype around these bikes and the category of gravel, as there is with anything new and exciting. But I've been testing these bikes since about 2014, and I think they are the best thing to ever happen to cycling. From bike packing to gravel racing, adventure and exploring, road touring and commuting, these bikes can do it all. So without further ado, let's dive in. One of my favorite things about gravel bikes is how damn versatile they are. And you can build them, spec them however you want for the riding you are doing. So you can go big on the tyres, add some luggage and go bike packing for as long as you want. And that's proving really popular here in the UK and around the world. Or you can go in the other direction, strip back, lightweight, aero and go racing. And that too is proving very popular right now. From a change of tyres and other components, you can have 2, 3 or even 4 bikes in one. They are versatile and highly adaptable. And the bike manufacturers are really leaning into that with bikes that offer more scope for the riding you want to do with these bikes than any other. And the other great thing about gravel bikes is you use them for everything you might encounter. You're never on the wrong bike. I've done rides where I start on a road and then encounter forest trails and gravel tracks and single track and then back on the road. And yes, they might not be as fast as a road bike or as capable as a mountain bike, but you can do all that riding on one bike, and they are amazingly capable and probably much more capable than you might imagine. When I was in California recently with the Crux, we did amazing riding on both road and off-road trails, all on the same bike. And I never really felt at a disadvantage or felt unduly compromised being on this bike. It was right at home on the road and right at home on the gravel as well. Gravel bikes have massive tyre clearance, and this gives you the freedom to fit any tyre you want, from a narrow slick tyre for road riding to a fat knobbly mountain bike tyre for extreme off-road terrain, or a middle of the road gravel tyre like this one here. And if you can't decide what tyre to use, well, if you have some spare wheels, you can ride multiple tyres and wheels on the same bike. Some road slicks for the weekday riding, and then some fat knobblies for the weekend off-road exploring. 2 bikes in one. When it comes to choosing a gravel tyre, there are now loads and loads of options. You go narrow and smooth or wide and knobbly. I've tried mountain bike tyres in the past and they work really well, but I think we might have to draw a line between a gravel bike and a mountain bike somewhere, and that might be it. My personal preference for a fit and forget gravel tyre that works well everywhere is something in the region of 40 to 42 millimeters with a nice low profile tread. You'll be surprised how good they are off-road in anything but deep mud, and how fast they are on the road too. Not much slower than a pure road bike setup. At normal speed, you'll keep up with your mates just fine. It's just at the high speed where the aero and the weight will hold you back. I've recently been experimenting with a 45 millimeter wide tyre, and I'm really impressed. You get more cushioning, more comfort and more traction off-road, and the speed on the road isn't that much slower than a 40 or 42. The other reason that gravel bikes are so good is the geometry, which is generally more laid back and more relaxed than any drop bar road bike. And that makes them much more accessible and easier to ride on the road and off-road. The handling is less skittish than a road race bike and a bit calmer, and that makes riding bikes both more enjoyable and also easier for more people. So compared to a road bike, we generally have a longer wheelbase, the distance between the front and rear axle to give more stability, and that's great at high speeds and on loose terrain. We have slacker angles in the head and seat tube, just to calm things down a bit more. And now we're seeing bikes with a longer top tube and a shorter stem and a wide handlebar to give even more control when you are riding off-road. There's a world of difference between gravel bikes too. Something like the Crux is fairly close to a CX kind of endurance bike. And then there are bikes at the other end of the spectrum that are much more mountain bike inspired, like the BMC Urs and the 51 Assassin. So much longer and much slacker, and great if you really want to push a gravel bike to the limits on mountain bike and rocky, rooty terrain. Now, before we carry on any further with my reasons why you need a gravel bike in your life, I need to tell you about today's sponsor, Squarespace. Squarespace is the all-in-one platform that makes it super easy and quick to get a professional looking website up and running. Whether you need an online store for selling cool bike products, a portfolio to share your photos with the world, or to start blogging, with Squarespace, it couldn't be any easier. You've got a fantastic intuitive interface, a massive library of award-winning templates, and around-the-clock support. You can plug in your social media networks and so much more. The list of possibilities is almost endless. And if you like the sound of that, you get a free trial and 10% off your first purchase by using my special code and link down below in the description. Okay, let's carry on. The reason why you need a gravel bike in your life. One of the best secrets of a gravel bike are the low gears they are often equipped with. Those gears are needed when you're riding off-road, where the hills are often steeper and you're riding on loose and tricky terrain, and you need the low gears to help you. Even more so when you have luggage and you're going bike packing. But the real secret here is how those low gears help us normal cyclists with normal levels of fitness when it comes to riding any sort of road or trail. We're not handicapped by the big gears on road and endurance bikes. And these bikes have forced the group set manufacturers to actually develop group sets and gearing combinations that allow us regular cyclists to have the gears we actually need when riding on the road and off-road. No more grinding up a steep climb, busting your knees to pieces. We now have gears that allow us to spin up the climbs. You have a choice of 1x, as I have here, or 2x with a front mech, and there are pros and cons to both systems, but choose the one that works best for you. If you're doing faster racing, then 2x might be better. If you're doing more off-road, 1x does offer simplicity benefits. And that ability to build and spec a bike how you want it is well demonstrated with this, my personal specialized S-Works crux build. So I built this up using some of the parts I felt worked for the riding I do where I live here in the Cotswolds. So a nice lightweight carbon frame and fork. I like the external cable routing, bottom bracket and seat clamp for easy maintenance and easy to build it in the first place too. I like 1x, works for me. Nice simplicity and a wide range 1044 cassette. Gets me up and over the hills quite well. I like the SRAM setup because one battery, nice and easy to use, no wires going through the frame or internal frame battery. I like a bit more comfort, so a suspension seat post, and I prefer a mild flared handlebar, not a crazy flared handlebar. So I have that one from Zip on the front there. So nice handlebar that works on the road and also a bit more control in the drops when I'm riding off-road. I like a bit of aero because I need all the help I can get these days. So nice deep section wheel set. And I've been experimenting, as I said earlier, with a 45mm wide tyre, which feels really good. When it's been muddy and when it's dry and dusty like it is now, and on the road, these tyres work really well. So full review coming on these fairly soon. Now, this is quite an expensive build, I know, but gravel bikes don't have to cost a fortune. And there are many manufacturers doing really good value for money focused bikes. And you see some of the best ones in the video linked down below in the description and floating the card up over there. And you also have a choice of frame material. Carbon is good if you value weight, but steel and titanium are really good options as well. Nice durability, that longevity as well, and that timeless appearance those materials offer. But the thing I love most about these bikes is the fun they enable you to have and the smile they put back on your face that I think many people lost sight of for the reason they got into bikes in the first place. These bikes enable you to get out and explore with no restrictions or rules or limitations, improve your fitness, get to work, go on a mad adventure and do it while having fun the whole time. They also expand your horizons and potential for where you can ride more than any other bike. Road bikes are great on the road, that rubbish off-road, and mountain bikes great in the woods on mountain bike trails, but not so good on the road. Whereas these bikes can do it all at the same time, with no real compromise. I love exploring country lanes and then bridleways and linking them together, either making up as I go along or doing some mapping on Commute or Strava. And that ability to ride wherever you want is a real attraction of e-bikes and puts a fun into cycling once again. The other great thing about gravel bikes are the events and the community that's sprung up over the last few years. And most of the events I've done over the last few years, whether big organised events or low-key Strava organised events, have a much more accessible atmosphere and laid-back approach than any other road or mountain bike events I've done in the past. My particular highlight was the Grinduro over the last few years in Scotland and Wales, which was one of the most laid-back and fun events I've ever done. The riding was fantastic and the people were so friendly and down to earth. So these events are a great reason to get a gravel bike. So those are my reasons why I think you should invest in a gravel bike. From bike packing to racing and everything else, get out there and enjoy the gravel. And if you want to see a video on this lovely Specialized Experts Crux and my experience of riding in California on some of the best gravel I've ever experienced, then watch this video up here. And don't forget to subscribe by hitting the button down here. But that's all for today. I'll see you out on the trail. Thank you so much for watching.